My big bandsaw is not as steady as I was hoping, but measuring it, it's only shaking by about 4 or 5 thou, or about 1/10 of a millimeter. And that's measuring side to side. Front to back, it's a bit more steady than that. I'm used to a lot less shaking. This is my 16-inch bandsaw, and here you can see the vibrations. It's maybe 1 thou, and this is quite sensitive. If I just tap it on here, it moves a lot more. A common source of vibrations with commercial bandsaws is that one of the wheels is not quite round, and that causes variations in blade tension as the wheels turn, which in turn causes the frame to flex a little bit, and that can cause a lot of vibrations. This is easy enough to check for. We just tighten it up a lot and check the tension by plucking the blade and then turning it. So I'm not seeing any significant variation in the pitch here, so that is not the cause here. I just stuck a cardboard shim underneath part of the wheel to simulate the effect of a wheel that's not quite round. That's actually not that much worse than I thought it was going to be. Now notice how it really went crazy there as the saw stopped, and that's because the saw on the stand has a natural frequency of vibration, and as the wheel slowed down to that frequency, it resonated, and that made it vibrate a lot more. So the change in pitch as I'm turning this is not as apparent as I thought it would be. This is much more of an effect if you use a wider blade. The thing is, these narrow blades, the steel is actually also a little bit stretchy, so you get less variation in the tension. And the shim that I stuck in there was just some cardboard, which is 0.3 millimeters thick. Now another cause of vibration is that the motor moves, and I can see this motor is moving up and down just a tiny little bit, which may be contributing to vibrations. So I'm going to jam some blocks underneath here to fix it in place. So that was also a very minor difference. Now I haven't really balanced the wheels that carefully, so I'll do that next. Okay, if that's imbalanced, it's not unbalanced by a whole lot. But it seems this side is gravitating towards the top, so I'm just going to put a screw in one of these holes that's already in there. Now it seems to bias towards these screws on the bottom, so I'll take one out again. And now it seems this side likes to come up again, so I'll just put in a smaller screw. Okay, at this point it's just becoming too hard to figure out which side is heavy, so I think that's close enough. And that made no noticeable difference, so next I'll check the bottom wheel. So I have the blade on here. So this lower wheel is definitely a little bit out of balance. So I've jammed all of these screws up here underneath the inner tube, and that seems to be about right to balance it. And I've already got some holes right here, so I'll just fill those with screws first. Okay, with these screws in and these ones in here, it's biasing with these ones down, so I'll remove a couple and see how it goes now. Well, I think this is about as balanced as I will get it with my little helper here. So I'll put that back on the saw, but it was definitely fairly unbalanced. I've got 4 screws in here. Just got to pound that shaft forward a bit again. And let's see if I can get that wheel back in there without having to take this trunnion beam off, because the wheel does fit behind that beam to some extent. And let's see. I'm still getting vibrations. Now weight is another factor. A wooden bandsaw is fairly light and more prone to vibrations, so if I just add a bit more weight up here, that cuts down on vibrations a fair bit. Now, one thing I've been deliberate about is I parked this bandsaw on an uneven spot in the floor. So it's really only resting on about 3 casters. So if I move it to a flatter bit of the floor, that should help too. Now this is with the weight removed again, so let's put that back up here. 10-pound weight. And it's much less, but still a bit more than my 16-inch saw. I figured these crummy office chair casters weren't helping any, so I propped it up on some pieces of wood so it's off the casters. But now the vibration is actually a lot worse because the resonant frequency of the saw has gone up with a stiffer mount and it's running close to its resonant frequency, so that didn't help any. So I took it off the pieces of wood and now I have this much vibration. I think I'll just have to live with that. Another factor is how fast is the saw running. This saw is running a fair bit faster than this one, and I think if I ran this one slower I'd be able to get it as steady as the other one. But with all that said, this one just barely can balance the nickel on the table. So I think it's good enough. And now with the weight on top, another one here, I get about 1,000 vibrations.